Your screen, yes. I think your screen.
Okay, so after completing procurement processes and order to cash cycle in sales process, now we should also know how to process the customer returns as well as the vendor returns. So in our first session, we'll be having a look at how to process the vendor returns, customer returns, and that too in multiple ways. And from second session, we'll be having a brief introduction about the production and the various terminologies,
Okay.
because production is also very much important. There are very few consultants who actually are well aware of the production processes in any ERP system. So that is like a kind of a plus point. So if most of the consultants, they know dynamics, they know finance, most of them they know like trade and logistics, but there are very few who know like dynamics, or trade and logistics, as well as the production. So production is very vast topic, Nelson. We'll try to touch upon almost every aspect. So yeah, that will be a way to go. So first, let us know how to process vendor returns and customer returns. All right.
That I think is was not in the syllabus, original syllabus.
Uh,
Uh,
Vendor returns, customer returns.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have added it later on, because that is very important topic. Just revisit the syllabus and let me know what was there. So
Mm,
I'm pretty sure I added something but haven't removed anything as such.
mm,
Just have a look after that. I think we have vendor
yeah.
returns and customer returns.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay. I found it.
you found it. So we
Yeah.
have returns, vendor returns and customer returns there.
Sales order returns and purchase order returns.
Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah.
same. Okay, okay.
Great.
So
Wonderful.
Nelson, first we'll try to receive and invoice a purchase order, and then we'll try to return that purchase order. So there can be various reasons for returning. Let us say we ordered some goods from a vendor, and the goods were not up to the mark, or maybe the goods were damaged,
So
or
you
like
only can return after doing the invoice?
yes, we
Okay.
have to return after doing the invoice, because then, see, we have to settle two things. First, we have to settle the inventory. Settling inventory means we received something, so the stock went up. So we
Hmm.
have to reduce that thing first. And second, the vendor was credited. So we have to nullify that also. So now we have to decrease the inventory, or meaning we have to take those items out of the inventory, the first step, which we can say a negative of product receipt. And then second, we have to debit the vendor, because the vendor was credited. Now we have to debit it. So these are the two things that are most important during the purchase order returns. So we'll see how to do that. Okay. So first, prior to doing that, let me create a purchase order, and we'll have a look at what exactly we received and then what we want to return. So let me create a simple purchase order. Let me select our vendor account, site and warehouse, and let me say I want, let me take our item. Let us say we ordered a quantity of 10 with a unit price. Okay, so this is the quantity. Let me see if there are some automatic charges applied. We can have charges also, and then we can apply those charges also. So, okay, so we have a charges of 25. Let me see. Where are these charges? Okay, so these are the header charges and not the line charges. So we can see we have the header charges also. So these are the automatic charges, I guess. Yeah, we set up the automatic charges in last session.
Yeah, we
So
did.
okay, so no issue. We can have the charges as well, and then let me click on the confirmation to confirm this. Okay, purchase order confirmation done. And now let me try to receive this item. So right now I'm receiving it. So since it is a batch controlled, we have to specify the batch number. What are the possible batch numbers right now? Okay, so A1 and A2 were the batches. Oh, no issue. We can, let me say we have A2. Okay, and confirm registration. So this is the time. Now I'm receiving it. Now I'm posting a product receipt. So while posting a product receipt, I want to specify the items that I registered. Okay, a random product receipt number, the line. Okay, click on OK. And then I'm invoicing it, generating the invoice, random invoice number, invoice date. Let me put it as today, matching the product receipts. Okay, don't want to include or exclude anything. I'm trying to click on post. So now I've received a simple purchase order, and now our like team decided, "Oh, we do not want these goods. Maybe these items are damaged or anything as such." So there are actually multiple ways. So the first thing, a very common, a simple technique is, you can just add a new line in the same PO. Only thing you have to do is you have to put a minus sign in front of the quantity. So now this will reverse everything. Minus sign will give you the net amount of minus 600, and minus sign also means that when you'll try to do the product receipt, so instead of doing a product receipt, it will try to push those items out of inventory. Or very simply, you can also, like, after doing this, so you can do it in the same PO. So actually, like, this is not the standard way of like returning the items. But since we are not concerned very much with the return processes, we are very much concerned with the exact process steps whenever we are receiving our goods from the customers who are sending us back. So return process is a little bit simpler, but usually what most of the customers do is they just try to create a new purchase order just as to keep track. So what they'll do is they'll usually do this in these two ways. So the first way is simply create a purchase order from here, and then the other way is to create a return order. So let me process by creating a simple purchase order. We click OK. So there they're going to do the same thing. They're going to specify the item, and they are going to specify the minus 10 quantity or any amount of items. It's not necessary that you want to return only 10. What if only few goods are damaged? So that is also one thing. Let me say only 5 items were damaged. So let me try to return only 5. So it will give us the net amount according to the quantity 5. And if there were some kind of charges, so we already have automatic charges here. So we can have those charges as well. So the charges are here. And if I try to refresh this, I can see my charges are positive, but I don't want them to be positive because I'm returning. So it's not like I'm going to pay the vendor for these prices. Instead, I'm going to deduct it from vendor. So what I'll do is I'll put a quantity of minus 25 here. So
Okay, yeah, I understand. But you're going to pay for charges, for example, for freight, because
yes,
yeah, that
yeah,
is going
so
to be
so
positive.
yeah,
Okay, yeah,
exactly.
all right.
So this is the reason. So what I did is, so now according to that, yeah, it depends on you, like what is your business scenario. Maybe you are not using maybe you are not crediting that vendor for that freight. Maybe you are using a third party freight. So in that case we
Yes,
will select a different charge code, and maybe we do not want charges at all, because let me say the freight vendor, the freight has nothing to do with vendor. So in that case, like we'll totally omit the charges because we anyway paid the vendor to to bring forth the goods and all. So that depends on your business scenario whether you want to include charges or not. And even if you want to include it, let me say it is a third party freight. So again, anyway, so freight will be charging you. All right, you want me to send your goods? Okay, so give me the charge. So in that case, you will be applying the positive charges. But right now, I'm assuming is that the vendor from which we are buying goods, so I'm actually paying the vendor for that freight. So since the goods are damaged, so why will I pay for it? So I will try to reduce it now. So that
Mhm,
depends totally on the business scenario. So
mhm,
now my amount looks fine. It can
mhm.
also happen, for example, instead of 25, I want to apply only to at 12.5, since I'm providing a quantity exactly half. So that depends totally on business scenario. The people from procurement department, they try to make calls, or they have specified protocols. Okay, if this sort of thing is happening, then this is the amount that needs to be deducted. Okay,
Okay.
so once we do that, now all we have to do is follow the simple a purchase cycle, but there will be some different steps. For example, now let me try to confirm it. So once you confirm the purchase order, now usually what we do is we try to register it and post a product receipt. So now let me try to register it. System seems to be running slow. Much stuck there. Okay, it's saying it's confirmed. I think confirmation is done. Oh, okay, it was trying to print the report. Therefore, it was stuck. Let me disable that. Otherwise, it will try to print report again and again. So anyway, we got our purchase order. So we can see a quantity of -5. I haven't configured this purchase order properly, because of which it is not showing me the prices and all. So yeah, once the purchase order confirmation is done, now if you look at the line, instead of registration, you will find the option of picking. Any idea, Nelson, why?
Because this is an outbound
Right,
process.
exactly. So because we are not going to register, we are not going to add something to the inventory. We are going to pick something out. And if you remember that this is the process that we use in sales picking, because once the sales order is confirmed, the next step is the users will pick those items and pack it. I mean, pick those items and try to do the packing slip posting. So in sales order also, after sales order confirmation, this is the second step. We pick the items and then we post the product, post the packing slip. So it is very much like the sales part, because right now we are doing exactly the same thing. We are instructing the users go and pick these items because they are going out of the inventory. So registration will be disabled, pick will be enabled. So right now we'll have to pick, and after doing that we'll be adding a picking line, and we can specify from which batch number. So we added the inventory for batch B2, so we will remove the inventory from batch B2. Is not created. Why? Oh, sorry, it was A2.
It was A2. Yeah.
A2. So now I'll click on confirm pick all. So basically now what happened is the quantity of 5, it just went out of inventory. It was in the status deducted. So if now the same thing. So one changes here and the another changes if I click on product receipt. So now in the parameter, we cannot select registered because we haven't registered anything. As you can see, it's totally blank. So what we'll do is we anyway have that line. So we'll click on ordered quantity, not the product receipt quantity or registered quantity. We'll click on ordered quantity. So it will give us ordered quantity, means whatever the lines are present in the PO, it will give us those lines. So this is the ordered quantity, and that is exactly what we returned. Even if you returned something less or something more, so you can still edit this quantity. So if you click on ordered here, you can anyway update the quantity at any point of time. But this is the exact amount that we returned. So now I'll click on OK. Okay, I forgot to mention the product receipt number. So I'll click on OK. All right. So now my product receipt is done, and as we can see that we will have the lines here. So ordered was -5, received was -5, and because of which it means you tried to send -5, tried to send 5 quantity, and you did send 5 quantity. So with this, so you can do it in multiple goes also if you understand the scenario where, like, let me say, the goods are way too heavy, and maybe you need 2 or 3 types of shipment. So maybe you want to receive them, you want to pick them in 2 or 3 times. So that also can be done. So it's pretty much
Living,
configurable.
and what about the $25?
$25, yeah, $25 are in the charges. We can see they're still in the charges. Hold on, I'll show you. Actually, in the during the product receipt, it usually shows us the quantity, but $25 are always there. Let me see. 25. It is showing the line amount, and if I navigate to the totals, see, we have those $25 here, so not an issue. That invoice amount will be
Okay.
that only. Okay, so
That
that
is
was
the
actually
invoice amount. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Actually, product receipt mostly they deal with the quantity. So even in the report, if you look at the product receipt report, so you will not find any sort of like charges or something as such. For example, the quantity. Although you can find on the line that what was the amount, the line amount, and so yeah, that is one thing. So now I'll try to post it, and we will have our purchase order like successfully returned. So our vendor balance is also settled. It's now debited. Our inventory is also inventory is credited because it was debited during the normal purchase process. So this is one way the most of the users do. Otherwise they can but in this way, if you have a look here, so you'll see that all are of type purchase orders. Okay, so usually what some people do is that they just try to use the same process, but instead they will use the return order. So they can also search for return orders specifically from all purchase orders. And once if you select return order, then you have to specify something called RMA number. Maybe this is return acknowledgement number or any kind of number that the vendor will give you, or maybe you will give the vendor, a sort of acknowledgement ID that this is what like we are going to return. Maybe they'll try to enter this RMA number in their system. So yeah, this can be any number. So let me say it is A123. So two changes here. First, you have to specify the purchase type. Then you have to specify the RMA number. Once you do that, you can carry on with the same process. So I'll click on OK. Now let me say I want my rest of the items. I want them to go from here. So I'll again enter the quantity of -5, and then okay, I just want to tell you that we have something called in sales and purchase, we have something called copy. Suppose you have 50 or 55 lines, okay, and you do not want to like add those lines again and again, because many of the times you'll find POs, the POs are pretty much recurring in nature, POs and SOs. So let us say if your PO is having 55 lines or 60 lines, so it will really become a very much of a kind of a tedious task for user to again and again try to add those lines and same quantities. So one very nice feature in Dynamics 365 is you can copy from previous orders. So in case of return order, let me see that I want to copy some lines. So right now this is just one line. So basically you will find this form in copy all in purchase order as well as in the sales orders, because this is a way you can copy. For example, have a look at this item, Acme Office Supplies. I just want to return all of these items at once. Or let me say I just want to order them again. Okay. So if you just click and if you select all of these items here, and then you have a certain settings, let me say copy charges. If you want to copy the charges in the existing PO, you want to copy precisely means copy exactly whatever the line quantity and everything. So this is one thing. If you want to invert the sign, or if you want all of this quantity to be multiplied with something, so that's a very nice feature, and almost everyone makes use of it. So this is the way, you can avoid most of the typing while trying to add purchase orders. Okay, Nelson, any kind of question or doubt from this? So if I click on OK, so this was one thing that I forgot to tell you. So this is like something you guys should know,
Yeah,
that there
nice.
there is. Okay, so quantity of items must be okay. So this is throwing error, especially in this case. Why? Because we created a return order. Okay, so return order, so it is showing that you the quantity of items must be negative, so it is trying to copy the positive items. So let me try to see invert sign, will it do anything? I haven't used this feature in a while, so let me try to click OK, copy precisely and all right. Yeah, it's something else, so I'll just tell you here. Let me try to add something here, because this copy operation is very much important. It helps user a lot. So if I try to, I think this is the normal PO. Yeah, this is the normal one. If I try, let me try to add these lines, copy charges, copy precisely. Also, let me quantity factor of 2. So 10, 10, 15. We try to copy these. So you can have copy order lines in purchase order. You can have them in sales order. So now can you see that within the fraction of few seconds, I was able to copy and I was able to multiply the quantities as well. These were 10, 10, so they turned out to be 20, 20, the 15 ones in 30. So this is a very nice feature. Okay. Always make sure if you ever encounter such situations where you have to add multiple lines in purchase order or sales order, this is the way to go. You can just click on create copy from all, and you can copy from all sorts of the existing purchase orders and sales orders. So this was something that just I remembered. So I thought you guys should know that. But anyway, so let me click cancel here, and let me try to add my line. So I can select from the existing PO here also and add that line. So depends upon you how you want to add that. So let me say I want a quantity of -5. So this time I'm creating the return purchase order, and let me assume I have all the correct information here. So RMA number and type return order. So these are the two most important things whenever you are trying to create a return order using this functionality. So if I navigate to all purchase order here, so we can see we have a return order. Okay, so this is the way it is clearly showing us that this is not a normal purchase order but a return order. So I think this is a much better way to do it. Okay, just printing it again and again. Oh, now I'll click on, so once confirmation is done, the same steps. Here we don't have to do anything new. We'll have to click on pick, since the quantity is negative, add a picking line, picked quantity, and then we can click on confirm pick all. Okay, this is an error. We have to specify the batch number, I think. So 5 cannot be picked because it's not available. Okay, let me see. I think I forgot to mention the batch number, because of which it was throwing an error. System forgot to see which batch number exactly. I'll click on confirm pay call. Okay, now it's picked. So you can see most of the errors in Dynamics are self-explanatory. If you just try to debug that, you'll find it out.
Yeah.
So picking is done, and now I want to post a negative product receipt. So I'll click on ordered quantity. That is good. A random product receipt number, and we have our line. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so now we can click on invoice and generate the invoices. Let me match the product receipts. Okay, dating match status and clicking on posting. I forgot to mention the invoice number and invoice date. Let me click on post. So Nelson, this was the way of returning. What is thing? You must match the status. Okay, match. So this is the way of, like, processing the purchase order returns. So you can have charges. You can return all the quantities. You can return some less quantity. So any sort of like confusion here, what exactly went, like anything, any sort of confusion. I think this is a pretty much straightforward business scenario.
Yeah,
Uh,
very simple.
Okay, okay, that's good. That is good. And now we will be
I
talking
noticed
about
that
the.
that you can create a purchase order from a sales order. That is also nice.
Yep, yes, because it's all about copying. So you can have that thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can create that, and you can also create. So let me say you are creating a sales order, and another scenario is that you can create something called direct delivery purchase order. So that is also a very common business scenario. You want to sell something, but you do not have the item, but you do not
So you
want
buy
to.
it.
Yeah, so you buy it, and you just process the purchase, and the sales will be done automatically. You're trying to receive that. Once you receive that, packing slip will be done in case of direct delivery. So if you if you want to know about direct delivery, so that is one more a scenario. So it's like you want the vendor to ship the goods instead of you doing the same. So that is a direct delivery scenario. Otherwise,
Mm.
usually you'll buy it and then put it in your inventory for a couple of minutes or days, and then maybe you want to send it. So all sorts of scenarios are possible. So when you create
Okay.
a purchase
And do
order
you
from a
have
sales order,
intercompany sales?
yes, we do have intercompany sales orders as well. So you will okay. I forgot to give you a document. I forgot to give you the. Okay, okay. Let me note it down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember
Intercompany
that I.
sales orders. That is also interesting.
Yes, intercompany sales order is definitely interesting, because there are some very nice blogs about these. So I forgot to give you the links. I'll make sure to give you the links for them today. It's very much simple to configure these intercompany sales and purchase orders. And another was the pricing and discounts.
Pricing
So these,
discounts.
yeah,
Yeah.
these blogs
And
were very
maybe
nice.
the direct sales.
Yeah, direct delivery, because these are really
Direct
very
sales.
nice
And do you have
features.
make to order scenario?
Make to order scenario, right now we do not have. So that is a kind of that is in a production. So we do not have.
Yeah, say, a manufacturer to order is
Yes.
you make a sales order and that
Yes.
triggers a work
Yes.
order.
Yes, so that is also a very common scenario. We do have that. So in this way, the sales order is going to be linked with the production order. So that is a
Mm,
very common scenario. We do have that, and we'll try to configure
mm,
those when we'll
that's
talk in
good.
production. Okay, so yeah, we really some very nice blogs are present. So I'll make sure after today's session, I'll give you the links for them. Very simple to configure. So okay, so now once we are done with the purchase process, I think now we should know how to process the sales return. The
Yeah,
sales return
correct.
is going to be a bit more detailed, because see, whenever you are doing the purchase return, what exactly you are doing is you are picking the items out of your inventory, load it onto the truck, and there you go. But during the case of sales order return, it's like you send something to the customer found it defective, or the customer is maybe defective, maybe the goods are broken. So anyway, the customer is returning some or maybe all part of your shipment. So now various processes will be involved. Now the scenario one is customer may send it in three shipments and not in one. So every time you'll have to register those and then do a kind of a product receipt. And what with each registration, what you want to do, maybe you want to scrap if the goods are damaged, so those goods even have no value for you, maybe only the scrap value. So maybe you want to scrap that inventory and credit the customer. Or maybe maybe the customer returned it because the quality was not up to the mark, but you can sell those goods to some other customer. So maybe you want to put those goods back into your inventory and do not disturb the inventory cost, but credit the customer, because anyway customer has returned us, so we have to settle that amount. So these will be taken care using something called disposition code. So once you receive all, and then you do something called a kind of a product receipt. So there you do is a kind of a packing slip posting, and then you will finally invoice. So there are a lot of scenarios involved. Maybe you try to send they try to send you and the truck was lost in between, or even the truck met with an accident. So all sort of scenarios will be taken care of that. So it's like a kind of a detailed customer return process. So we'll have a look how to process that. So let me navigate to, okay, I can create a sales order from accounts receivable only. So let me create a sales order. First, we will try to invoice the sales orders, and then we'll take them back. So let me say, okay, so I'll create the item with a quantity of 10. So right now I'm performing a simple sales order processing task. Let me say I want to sell 10 quantities. Okay, so let me click on sales order confirmation, click on save. Okay, click on okay. All right, now I'll pick and back. Let me click on pick. I'm going to pick from batch A2, confirm pick all. Items are now picked, and I'll try to pack, post the packing slip. I want to post whatever is picked. All right, looks good. Click on OK. And we have that same credit management issue, I suppose. It's enabled for this customer. Let me try to release it so that I can pack the posting slip, post the packing slip. So let me do that. Meanwhile, I'll duplicate and let me say or open all sales orders in this tab also. Okay, so once this is done, let me create the invoice. So I'll generate the invoice. I want to invoice the packing slip. Okay, packing slip number is mentioned 2085. I'll click on OK. All right, so our invoice is posted now, and invoice number is 763. So now here we will go to sales and marketing, and we have a special tab. If you click on, we have a special section for return orders. Okay, So the created return orders, open return orders, and all return orders. So I'll click on all return orders. So here we have this separate form for creating and processing return orders. So I'll click on new, and let me say for the customer account, and okay, so we can specify the return reason code also. So you can have a list of your own return reason codes, just to keep track for reporting purpose or for exactly. So I think a defective is good, seems to be a good quantity. So let me say our goods were defective, therefore the customer is returning the goods back to us. Also, you can click on OK now. So this is the return order. Same the header and the line concept, but it's a little bit different than the sales order. So now what we'll do is in case of return order, we'll try to find the return sales order. We'll click the return find sales order and we'll find the order for what we want to return the material. So let me say, I think our latest invoice was 763. So this is the invoice that we did. We can see the invoice
And that
here.
find order is only to show the orders that match the item, the customer or something.
Right, right. So you first and foremost, they will only match for something that is invoiced. So they'll not, so like it can say, so here we have the invoices. So only the invoices will be showing up. So invoice header and invoice lines. So, and it is also filtering it using the customer. The customer is exactly this because it makes sense. You created something for a customer and you want to return to that customer only. So this is one thing that you can do. Otherwise, if you navigate to normal sales order, that copy functionality is present here also. So that is present on all purchase order form and sales order form. So that copy thing is present here. So if you want to copy from all others, and so that is
Okay.
here, okay. But this is return order, and this is copy. This is the option to copy, and that is the option to find sales order because we want to find the exact vendor and the exact invoice against which we are going to perform these transactions.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was our invoice 763. We can see. So let me have a look at this once again. I think it was 763 it is. So I'll click on 763 and in these sections. Okay, so yeah, so copy charges if you want to copy the charges or anything as such. So I'll click on select. This is selected. Now I'll click on OK. So as you can see, it automatically, added this -10 quantity here.
Yeah.
So once we do that, so here we don't have to explicitly specify the negative quantity. So everything is like seems to be good right now here. So now what we'll click on the return order. So it's a kind of a return order report, and let me see. Okay, no issue. We can print it on the screen. It's like a kind of as we have the sales order confirmation. So this is the kind of return order confirmation. This is like you want to return how much quantity and what. So we have the return order now. So now what we'll do is, let us say, okay, so we've created a return order in our system. Now after maybe a day or two, the first shipment came. Okay, so and they try to return us, let me say half of the quantity. Let me say a quantity of 5. So now I'll click on update line, and we can see the process of registration is enabled. Registration, why? Even though it is the sales process, but since we are adding something to our inventory, so it's very much logical. When we were pushing items out of inventory, even if it was purchased, the pick was enabled. So that was the purchase order return. But now what is happening is, we are trying to bring something into the inventory, so we will definitely register it. So when you click on register, then you have to assign the disposition codes. So there are certain disposition codes enabled, and you can click on view details to have a list of what exactly they will do. So disposition code are like, for example, credit. So it's like, you just have to put the item back into the inventory and credit the customer. So now you have credit, repair, and add. So it's like scrap and credit to customer. So basically, you can select any of the disposition codes. So these are the actions: credit, credit only, replace and credit, replace and scrap, return to customer and customer. And these are all the possible scenarios. So this is one thing, a very nice feature. You can, for with every registration, you can have a disposition code. Let me say for this one, I just want to, put the item back into the inventory and credit the inventory, and credit the customer. Usually whenever we are doing the customer invoice, we are debiting the customer, so the debit balance stands against the customer. Now we will credit the customer. So let me select the disposition code of 11, and so it will now give us the registration form. Let me add the registration line. So registration line, let me say we tried to receive it in batch A2. The quantity of register now was 5. Let me say we'll get another shipment after like a day, and then we'll register rest of the quantity. So if I click on confirm registration, quantity is registered now. And now let me say, so okay, so we can see, it's okay. So the quantity is registered here. The quantity returned is -5, and we have this status as registered, and this is yet expected. So I'll click on this line. Let me say we got the items after a day again, and with the same disposition code or a different disposition code, depends on you. Let me select the same disposition code and we can register the remaining items. Let me select the batch A2, click on confirm registration. This is registered. So basically now we have all those 10 items in our inventory now. Okay. So registered. So that created the two lines. So once we do that, so after registration means now we can post the packing slip. Post the packing slip for the replace for the return order. So if you click on post the packing slip, the quantity will be all, means whatever we've registered, it's totally fine. Created the two lines because we registered it using the two sequences. Maybe everyone was having a different disposition code, so it created the two lines. So anyway, I'll click on OK. So now our packing slip will be posted, a negative packing slip you can say, because we registered the quantities. But this is the way to go. And one more thing you will find here is that you will not find anything called invoicing tab. So the users get confused about that, because that you will have to do from here. So once you register that thing, so now if you filter all the sales orders, so you can see the so this was the original sales order and this is the return order for this sales order. And you can see we have a status of delivered, which means we've received all the items. In short, the negative posting, the negative packing slip is posted, delivered everything. So if you want to do the invoice, so again we'll have to come to all sales orders page and click on invoice. So from here we'll be able to generate the invoices. So now it is showing us, okay, the packing slip totally fine. Packing slip that was created was this one, and it is showing us the negative quantities and amounts. All right, we can click on OK and you know process the sales return sales invoice. So this is the whole process, Nelson, of the it is a bit more detailed as compared to
Yeah,
the
you need
return
more
purchase
steps
order.
here.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely good amount of steps are there because good amount of scenarios are there.
Hmm.
So the system makes sure that every sort of scenario is handled. You can have, otherwise like it's not a good idea to just create a negative sales order line. You can do here also. Let me say your sales return is not that much detailed. You just want to debit the customer, credit the customer, and bring back the inventory. You can anyway do the same thing using the minus sign. So adding a minus sign in front of quantity will reverse all the transactions, will reverse the inventory. So if you know that you do not have the mechanism of using this truck and You know that it's a shop nearby, you can the system will definitely goods will be definitely returned to us, that too in time, in one shipment. Just create a negative sales order line, so all the transactions will reverse itself. So the system gives you flexibility to, to perform these steps. But let us imagine the huge warehouses, for example Amazon warehouse and like the Walmart warehouse and all. So such type of scenarios are handled, there. So there they have the proper process, they have the something called return acknowledgement number, then return reason codes, and then disposition codes. So you can have all sorts of features. You can have like exact depicting exactly what is the truck going through on the road, and the time it is coming in your warehouse. So you can have the each and every list of steps, because some customers do that actually. Okay, so that depends on, for specifically that depends for what customer you are trying to process the customer returns. Anyway, after 2 days, this will come back into my inventory, and you do not have this scenario. Just create a negative sales order line, and just go through till the invoicing. So the inventory will be balanced, and the customer balance will also be balanced. Okay.
Yeah,
So
good.
this is how, Nelson, we process the purchase returns and sales returns. I think we'll take a quick 10 minutes break, and then we'll start the manufacturing processes. Today
All
we'll
right.
have a quick look for various types of manufacturing and certain terminologies that will definitely be needed when we'll be configuring the system for production. Okay.
Okay.